define variables in the C++ programming language. So let me write a basic syntax, and then using the generalized statement that I'm writing in the first comment, we'll try to define some of the variables, and we'll also take some of the examples where we'll be getting user input for our integer and floating type variables. So the general syntax can be data type, and then you have a variable name, and if you are assigning the value at the time of declaring the variable, so it will turn out something like is equals to the value that you want to store. Okay, let me give some of the underscores to make it more clear. So want to store. So this will be the general syntax. Firstly, we'll write the data type of the variable that we're trying to make. Next, variable name is equals to value that you want to store. So using this generalized syntax that I've written over here, let me define 2 or 3 different variables. Before that, let me include the header files, hash include iostream, and using namespace std. This is the standard stuff that we follow in every C++ program, and here we have our main function. So let me define a variable of integer type integer where 1 is equals to 50. So let's understand the statement with the help of the generalized syntax that I have written over here in the comment. So data type is the first requirement, and here the data type is the keyword int. So what it is telling that this var1 is a variable and it is of integer type. So data type, variable name is var1 is equal to, and on the right hand side of is equal to, we'll write the value that we want to store inside this var1. So 50 will be stored into var1. If I save the program and if I try to run this, it's taking the time for compilation. Okay, we won't get any output because I'm not using any cout statement. So if I write cout and if I try to print value of var1, so I'll get 50 as the output. So as you can see on the screen, we are having 50 in the output. So this was one example for integer type variable. Let me define a floating point variable. So float var2 is equals to 75.32. So now here the syntax is exactly similar. The only things that have changed is instead of defining a variable of integer type, I am using the float keyword, which allows me to use decimal point numbers. I cannot assign decimal type numbers to the integer variables. Now if I try to print the value for var2, I'll save the code and run this one more time. So okay, what I'll do, I'll just give endl over here, so I'll get the output into